What's up everybody, it's RobinGaming here. Now it has been like a month already that I made my latest video on Uncharted 4. So I pretty much, I wanted to make another video on it. And this time actually originally I had planned to talk about, kind of like my predictions on the gameplay. What I would like to see as well in terms of single player, multiplayer, everything. But yeah, actually last week, very unexpectedly, there was this, another big hint to Uncharted 4, or at least to a new Naughty Dog game that I figured, I just had to talk about it. And yeah, I mean, it's gonna take me a long time to pretty much discuss everything on it, so I figured that the predictions on the gameplay and the stuff I'd like to see, I'm gonna keep that for a new video, so you can expect that for like somewhere in the coming weeks. But yeah, for now there's just a lot to talk about again in terms of rumors, which is always very exciting. Let's start off at the beginning, which is pretty much the previous story that I told you about a month ago, which was that Nolan North had been spotted in the Naughty Dog office. I don't know if you can still remember that story. If you can't, then I will link you to the video. I'd recommend you to first check that out. It's a pretty cool rumor. So at the time when I made that video, Nolan North hadn't really replied to anything yet on anything. So yeah, he was just very quiet about it. Same counts for like everyone at Naughty Dog. We hadn't heard anything about it until like a few days after, when yeah, Nolan North pretty much tweeted at everyone, and he said, to someone who asked him like, why were you in the offices there? And then he replied and he said, well, I'm the Naughty Dog janitor, which was like, yeah, it was pretty funny. And but at the same time, it was like, people really took that response as something like, yeah, obviously Uncharted 4 is coming, which is understandable. But yeah, I mean, like, I did some more research, and when you start looking at the replies to that tweet, you see this guy who replies to him, and he said, I had to sneak you in there when I saw you hanging around the office. That's what he said. So I checked out his profile, and then it said that he's this, this filmmaker, or at least, he's the one that Naughty Dog or Sony hired to make that The Last of Us development diary, which is where Nolan North was spotted. So yeah, this basically means that this guy has been hired by Naughty Dog or by Sony, to make that development diary for them. Now, originally I had said in that video that I thought that Naughty Dog deliberately put him in there, like as a Easter egg. Well, basically what that means is that Naughty Dog or Sony just, told them like, okay, go in the offices, go and film, a few parts there, and just do what you want and put it all together in a development diary. So this guy basically made it for them. It means, at least that's what I think, that they didn't really have any control over it, and that they just let the guy do that. Why is this important? Well, it's basically important for the next story, which I'm going to talk about very soon. But yeah, basically, it means that the Easter egg, as you'd like to call it, with Nolan North being in there, it might still be deliberate, just not deliberately done from Naughty Dog, but by this guy who just, he saw Nolan North there, and he just, he thought, oh, that would be cool to actually, put him in there as well. But now the big story, and yeah, this is really exciting stuff, So yeah, last week again in The Last of Us development diary, I think it was the third one, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, in the background, in one of one of those one of the parts of the video, you can actually see a character model, and this character model, I will show it to you right now, looks like kind of like a pirate from the like people have been saying 1800s or something like that. But yeah, I mean, we don't know of anything from The Last of Us, like. Yeah, it doesn't look like, that's a character model for The Last of Us. I mean, The Last of Us doesn't have pirates, at least, we don't know so far. So yeah, people have been really speculating like this should be like something from Uncharted 4 or something from a brand new Naughty Dog game. Now, basically, my thoughts on this in the first place, like why I actually told you about the previous story. So, this whole development diary has been filmed by this guy, who I just mentioned. This guy who replied to Nolan North saying he had to sneak him in there. So this could once again be something that he just he didn't see, and he actually put it in there without, you know, noticing what he had been filming. I mean, it could be, right? I mean, I'm sure that Naughty Dog and Sony keep an eye out on what you know, actually gets posted, and that nothing is being leaked or something like that. But you know, it's this vague like image in the background that you can see for a millisecond or something like that. So you know, they might have not actually noticed that he put it in there. And I mean, it's really exciting stuff for sure. So what people have been speculating about is that, you know, the first theory is that, and this is actually just, you know, the theory I believe, and the theory I would go for, is just that I think that, yeah, that this character model is actually from The Last of Us. You know, I think it is, but I mean, I could be wrong there, of course. It could be like a multiplayer character, it could be like a single player character, or a brand new faction or whatever that we don't know about. Of course, it doesn't really look like it with these pirate clothes, but you know, I don't know. I have the feeling that this is just The Last of Us. I mean, I even heard that Naughty Dog, like, the two teams are working pretty separate from each other. So, you know, why would someone in the Last of Us part of the building, you know, have Uncharted character models in the background, or, you know, character model from another Naughty Dog game that the other team is working on? You know, I don't really see that happening. Still, it could be, of course. So, the other theory is that the next Uncharted game will be an Uncharted game set in the 1800s, and you will be playing as, for example, Francis Drake or something like that. Sure, it's a really cool concept. I just don't see it happening. You know, I mean, Naughty Dog has been very clear that when they, you know, continue Uncharted, it's a story about Drake. You know, and there's lots of more stuff to, you know, discover with Drake. Especially when you look at things we've come to know from him from in Uncharted 3, for example, like you know, the origin of his name and stuff like that. I mean, I'm 100% sure that Uncharted 4 will just continue with Nathan Drake. That's a given to me. Anyway. Now, what it could also be is a brand new Naughty Dog game. I mean, that's very likely, of course. You know, who knows? They might just not be working on Uncharted 4. I've been saying it for such a long time now that I can't see them doing something else than Uncharted 4. But of course, you know, a character model like this does make it, you know, it makes it really hard for me to keep saying with like 100% certainty, like, it's gonna be Uncharted 4, it's gonna be Uncharted 4. You know, but I mean, we just gotta wait and see for that, of course. Now, here's what I actually also think it could be like this is one of those theories of mine. So I've always thought, and I've always, you know, told you in my videos, I think Uncharted 4 will be announced at E3 2013, which is actually in less than 30 days from now. So really exciting stuff. Now, I think that Uncharted 4 will be this game that they will be showing off right at the end of the press conference. Like, okay, we have one little surprise for you, here it comes. And then they show off Uncharted 4. Now, like, here's my theory, what they will do, and they always do. When you want to surprise the audience, this is what you do. You kind of like, you show them gameplay, you show them like 5 minutes of something very vague. Something that, you know, they don't exactly know what it is, they have their suspicions, they have their, you know, they have a few things that they think it could be, but, you know, you will only see what it is until the end. So here's what I think. You know, in Uncharted 3, we had, for example, a flashback scene to Nathan Drake's past, like to where he was like 12 or something, I think 14, whatever. Anyways, you know, what could be the next step? The next step could be that there's gonna be flashbacks, or a flashback or whatever, to the 1800s, to Francis Drake. It doesn't necessarily have to be a game all about Francis Drake. It can be just a part from him, you know, or actually from someone else in the 1800s. Doesn't necessarily have to be Francis Drake, of course. Anyways, you know, this is what I really, and this is just a theory and it goes pretty far, I know that, but I mean, you know, the way I look at it, for example, it could be like, you know, think of E3, they say they have one more surprise, and you see this kind of like Uncharted style world, like you think it could be Uncharted 4, but you actually see a whole other character, and you control a whole other character, that is, you know, for now, Francis Drake, for example. So, you know, you just have this 5 minute, 10 minute, whatever scene about him, and you're like, well, what exactly is this game? And then it goes back, and it actually, for some reason, you know, it shows you something about like Nathan Drake or something, or it goes back to him, you know, and you realize that it is Uncharted 4, and the whole audience pretty much, you know, they burst out in clapping and stuff like that. I mean, that's just the way I see it, and for example, this is what it could be, like just a flashback scene to an Uncharted 4 scene, so yeah, just for example, you know, a Francis Drake scene or something else in the 1800s, 1700s, whatever. The whole pirate team, you know, I'm not too sure about it, but yeah, of course it does seem very very likely that it could be that, you know, what I just told you about, especially when you look at games like Uncharted 1, which had pirates in it, and Francis Drake and stuff like that. You know, anyways, it's really exciting stuff, but of course, I mean, we all have our own opinions. Let me know what you think about this. You know, what do you think this whole scene, you know, how does it all come into play exactly? Because it's all really vague. I gotta, you know, we all know that it's really vague, and yeah, it's always, you know, good to see it, to actually hear from it from another perspective, from someone else. You know, like what happened with the last video. Few people actually had some really good points from a different side. So, you know, it's always great to see when other people, you know, have different, you know, predictions or different opinions on something like that. So yeah, just let me know what you think about this. It's definitely very interesting. And yeah, as I said, I mean, 30 more days until E3. It's gonna be so exciting, and you know, I'm totally sure that Naughty Dog is gonna show off their new game there. I mean, you know, by the time The Last of Us will have been finished for a month, and actually will come out a few days after E3, and I mean, I think Naughty Dog is ready to show off their new game then, just like they did with The Last of Us 1 month after Uncharted 3. You know, I mean, it has been 1.5 years now since, you know, since Uncharted 3 released, of course, and Naughty Dog has always had only 1 year between, you know, releases and announcements of the next part of the Uncharted franchise. So yeah, it's been 1.5 years now, a half year longer than, you know, the previous times. So it's just, I think they're ready to show it, and it's gonna be amazing. So yeah, once again, let me know your opinion on this, and then I thank you a lot for watching, and hope to see you again next time.